Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Light Work with Amanda, and today we're going to talk about my trip to the BSA Summit a couple weekends ago. So that video where I went to LA, we had a little bit of time to explore, but now we're going to talk about the BSA Summit. So what the BSA Summit is all about is, which stands for the Black Student Athlete Summit. It helps connect student athletes from D1, D2, and D3 college and universities to professionals and consider their options once they graduate. I know we all want to go pro, do 10 years in the league, then you get your residuals to start becoming an entrepreneur, and then you invest in other companies. But what if plan A doesn't necessarily work out? So there's always plan B and plan C. So what this summit and what this weekend does is help provide those athletes, those student athletes, with some resources and connections and help start that conversation of, hey, I'm graduating soon, now what? And what's great about these types of events is that these student athletes can understand their options and make the best decision that's best suited for them. Because sometimes, advisors like to give the same advice and see which one it lands. It's just blanket advice and see, it works for some people, it might work for all. But that's definitely not the case. And also about this summit is that it realized that these student athletes are already kind of ahead of the game because they willingly put themselves into these tough situations, into these tough environments, the 6 a.m. workouts, and they come back harder, faster, and stronger. So having that mentality and transitioning that into, say, the corporate world, into the business world is a huge step ahead because you're hungry, you have the discipline, and on top of it, if you were a captain or a leader, you're going to have that confidence going in to lead a team and have confidence in your voice, which is amazing. Another great point that they brought up is that some of these student athletes are coming from a huge program like USC, like the Kentuckys, like the Dukes. They can use and leverage their current resources in order to have that intro email. I mean, the endowments that are available, the networking that's available, the alumni association. One of the common themes I heard that from one of the recent grads or any of the new athletes that are in the world, in the working force, that's what they did. They said, don't forget to leverage the current tools and resources that you have at hand. Because a lot of the times, we kind of forget. We get wrapped up in our own world, but they really drove that home, which I thought was awesome advice to hear from other student athletes and for them to help transition into the next step. All right, let me show you the BSA Summit and what it's all about. Come on, let's jump in. All right, so day one, collecting our credentials, getting good shots. We also got our swag bag. We were able to connect with some other sponsors and get in touch with some of the other attendees from last year. So it was a great little introduction to a great weekend ahead. All right, once we got our credentials all lined up, we were able to catch the end of this conversation with Invest QQQ at How Not to Suck at Money. And then we heard some great conversations with some of the student athletes from USC, so awesome to hear their story. So I love this DJ. He was awesome, helped keeping us engaged and entertained while the presenters switched out and if they had to rearrange the furniture. So here he is doing his thing.
He over there gangster with it, and you gonna hear me. I love it. I love you.
So then Dr. Moore came out with his wife, which I thought was really sweet. He thanked her for such a long and healthy, happy marriage. He also talked about some of his past and how he got here and how BSA just keeps growing. It's really exciting to hear him talk. And if you come across any other of his events where he's available, I highly recommend going. He is an incredible speaker. He's so knowledgeable and just a really down-to-earth dude. So thank you so much, Dr. Moore. All right, once the presenters were done for the morning, it was our turn now to help with the networking portion. So here we are at our booth. We are the first booth. Here we get to talk to different student athletes from all across the nation and all different sports and all different athletes. So really great experience and thoroughly enjoyed myself. Seeing all these student athletes made me realize, man, do I still got it? In work clothes? Maybe. Who knows? Here we are just blowing out some steam. All right, then the next day it was Leah's turn. She was on the main stage talking about DE&I. It was an awesome conversation led by Dr. Moore. One thing you should know about Dr. Moore is that he asks you real and hard questions, but Leah was prepared. She came back with some real, honest answers. All right, once Leah was done with her conversation with Dr. Moore, we hyped her up, we gave her props. We were like, you're coming back next year. You're definitely a main stage speaker. Great job. Man, I'm sorry, I have to do one more clip of this DJ because he was hilarious. Here he is doing his thing again.
You waiting for the Sopranos? Here we go.
So one of the last presenters of the day was Baron Davis. He talked about his transition from the basketball world into becoming an entrepreneur, as well as some of the companies he started, such as Big and More Than Us. Honestly, just a great conversation. And then here are just some of the people that helped put on the event. It's very true. It does take a village to put this on, but overall, it was a super successful weekend, really eye-opening, and just an incredible and amazing experience. If you have the opportunity, definitely attend the BSA Summit. The time at the BSA Summit was incredible. I'm so happy that we were a sponsor. I'm super grateful that I was able to go and was invited to talk about my experience being a student athlete. I love talking to these students. This is up my passion. This is up my alley. And, hopefully I can make this my full-time career and talk about helping student athletes and what they want to do and transition into the business world. I love being around it, and I can't wait until the next event. In fact, if this is something you guys want to hear more about how to talk to the NCAA, how to secure funding, what does it look like to get a scholarship? Are there grants? Do I want to do D1, D2, D3? What's the difference? I could definitely make videos about that. And if you like it, put it in the comment and that'll be my next video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing and liking. I hope you like the new background, a little different, little change of pace. But I'll come back to you next week with a little light work. Bye now.